بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. This will be a very short video on the importance of studying the curriculum of Shaykh al-Islam al-Muwaffaq in al-Aqaid. And now, as I mentioned before, and this will be a little bit redundant, I prefer for a person who has an intention to be Hanbali in general, he has not made up his or her mind, he or she has not made up his or her mind whether they will be Hanbali in al-Aqaid or not, whether they will be Hanbali in fiqh or not, but they want to be studying something in the Hanbali school of thought, which has the three branches of الدين, الفقه والعقائد والتصوف أو الإسلام والإيمان والإسلام والإحسان. So if this is your intention, then I prefer that in order to get a good representation of what the Hanbali madhab is, I prefer that you study the curriculum of Ibn Qudamah in al-Aqaid. When I say the curriculum of Ibn Qudamah in general, we have this Wahhabi myth that Ibn Qudamah wrote his books in order to be studied in this way. Umdat al-Fiqh first, al-Muqni', al-Kafi, then al-Mughni, and these are different books and they have different purposes. But people are ignorant and they believe what they hear, or they want to believe this thing because they do not want to study the relied upon position books, the more developed books that rely heavily on the books of Ibn Qudamah, especially al-Muqni'. But here now when I say the curriculum of Ibn Qudamah in al-Aqaid, so I mean books, they are not written so that they get studied in this certain order, but I prefer this order in studying them. So you study Lum'at al-I'tiqad first, and this is like a general overview of al-Aqaid. Dhamm al-Ta'wil second, and this tells you about this important issue of al-Ta'wil, the general philosophy of al-Ta'wil, and why the Hanabila reject it, and it explains to you what al-Ta'wil is in the first place, and why al-Hanabila reject it, and why al-Hanabila why al-Hanabila have a different madhab. So now this is more specific, and that's why it requires Lum'at al-I'tiqad first. You have to study Lum'at al-I'tiqad first, then Dhamm al-Ta'wil. Then, now we are talking about a very specific mas'ala, which is the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-Quran, and the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this requires the study of al-Sirat al-Mustaqim في إثبات الحرف القديم, very specific, very technical, requires Lum'at al-I'tiqad in the first place, and I prefer that you study in this order. Usually I tell people, if you have already studied Lum'at al-I'tiqad, you can study al-Sirat al-Mustaqim. However, I prefer that you study Lum'at al-I'tiqad, Dhamm al-Ta'wil, then al-Sirat al-Mustaqim. And then the fourth book is, there are other books by the way, but I prefer these four taken as like one curriculum, one thing, one fabric maybe, yes. So the last book is Tahrim al-Nazar, which has been translated into English. George Maqdisi's translation is good. It's very good, much better than the translations of some Muslims who, for instance, the translations of Lum'at al-I'tiqad, especially the Wahhabi ones. And Tahrim al-Nazar, now this discusses why we should not be mutakallimin, why we reject al-kalam, we reject the methods of al-mutakallimin, or speculative theology as Maqdisi calls it. Yes, so this is the fourth book, and this is the most the most developed one, and the one that explains to you the reality of the Hanbali madhab and the philosophy of the Hanabil. This is Ahmad bin Hanbal's philosophy explained in a book. Yes. 4 books, take them back to back, and do not take breaks. This is the way I prefer doing it. I will talk about every book in a more detailed way in a separate video, but this is a video about the importance of taking these 4 courses together. Remember, whenever I mention something that we offer in Madrasah al-Hanbaliyah, if you think that it's offered somewhere else and you are convinced that it's high quality, I believe you should go and take it there or here with us, whatever you choose, it's fine. But the important thing is that you see that we have a way here behind what we are doing. We have a method here behind what we are doing. That's why I'm telling you about these 4 courses. And if you think about it, this is the same order of teaching these courses. I started with لمعة الاعتقاد, taught it more than once, and then had some mu'ideen or some senior mashayikh, senior students to teach it after that. And then I taught them التأويل, then I taught الصراط المستقيم, then I taught تحريم النظر في كتب الكلام. I will talk more about these books. I've already talked about لمعة الاعتقاد, and I think if you are listening to this video now, لمعة الاعتقاد is going to be offered again in Arabic, and I think later in English by one of the mu'ideen or by one of the senior students. And I think if you have not studied لمعة الاعتقاد, you should not look into anything else that I have mentioned in this video. Study لمعة الاعتقاد first, then let's see what we are doing next. والله تعالى أعلى وأعلم، وصلي اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.